thank you. First, I want to express my gratitude to Atlantic Council for putting this together. It's very timely, and it's very important discussions that we're having in this room. Well, on the other hand, Georgia doesn't get anything for granted, because we went through our filter of experience with Russians for the invasion, the war in 2008, and this is why probably the Georgians put a lot of faith in NATO and European integration. 80% of population supports NATO integration, 85% European Union integration. From our side, I think what we really need to see continuing is, and very important for us to see, the Americans and Europeans working together. This unity of cross-Atlantic actions is very important for us to be reassured. Second, I think it's also important for the United States to show the leadership. And I think this is what about to happen, because this is something that now lays with the superpower like United States to make sure the next steps that NATO will make, for example, on the summit, which is in September, will be adequate in the response to what's happening in Ukraine. I think we're talking about the membership action plan, but we don't really know how the discussions will end up, while honestly, in fact, we should be talking after Ukraine about the accession talks of Georgia and other aspirants to NATO. But this is the way it is. Now we're putting a lot of efforts in transforming the Georgian armed forces after the 2008. I commissioned the lessons learned, which gave us a full picture what went wrong on the military side, and we're improving this. We're putting together our military forces that are now capable of being a great partners to NATO troops in Afghanistan. We're not just a partner, we are actually contributing more than some other NATO countries in Afghanistan, fighting shoulder to shoulder with your guys. We just volunteered to be a part of the European mission in Central Africa. So all of this means that Georgia is actually pushing above its share of responsibility, and we think that responsiveness should come from NATO on the summit that will have the impact. Now, I want to make sure that we understand that the response should have a strategic implication and the print. I think the sanctions that we're talking about, this is something that will come and go. As soon as the crisis, one way or another, will end or will be freezed, I bet that in 3 to 6 months, business will be as usual with Russia. So this is why we should do something that will have strategic importance. What is this? This is expansion of NATO. This is another round of enlargement, actually starting the enlargement with Georgia and other allies, aspirants who are putting actually a lot on a plate on security stuff. And also, we talked about the military deterrent a little bit. I want to make sure that we understand that without military deterrent, nothing going to happen. And I think it's rightly now they're thinking through to put additional military assets in the NATO countries, Eastern countries, but we should not forget about the partners. And I think what Caucasus should see and Georgia should see more limited time maybe, but protracted exercises from the NATO countries to have a footprint in Georgia. This is one thing. Another, a lot of trainings that we can do together in the regional context, Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan. We have to have the very good strategy of security enhancement cooperation about how we're going to defend the critical infrastructure. The pipelines, gas pipelines that are running through Georgia. This is very important to have alternative energy resources for European Union. Now on Ukraine itself, I think 3 things they need most is to have legitimate government, a legitimate president. This is lacking in the Ukraine, and this is one of the targets of the Russian aggression, not to make sure that there's not going to be legitimate elections. Second, to have a very efficient strategy how to fight the corruption and how to fight the infiltration. The counterintelligence services should be very active to make sure that they are loyal national peoples, loyal to the state people are in the places. So this is 3 major challenges I think they are facing. I'm very glad to hear from IMF and other donor organizations that they are putting together with the United States the economical package, and this is the way to go. In short, I want to make a conclusion that Russia always creates the new reality on the ground, then they eye the new target, and only then start negotiating with the West. Now West has to seize the opportunity, as my colleague was saying, and to create the reality on the ground by accepting the membership of aspirant countries to NATO, by putting some purely defensive assets in aspirant countries and predominantly in Georgia. Air defense capabilities, this is something we need to put in Georgia, and Russians will understand that you're serious. And some other actions that we'll be discussing bilaterally as well with the United States while I'm here. So in combination, it's going to be economic and the financial sanctions, putting military deterrent closer to Russia's border, and helping Ukraine in achieving these three main goals that they have. So I think we are on that track. I'm very positive that the US and the European Union is working together on sanctions and other defensive measures. And that's the reality we are in. And I think crisis created an opportunity to again make sure that we understand why NATO was created. So importance and relevance of NATO is validated what they did. We just need to keep continuing expanding NATO, because that's the only organization that can really fast-track the spread of freedom, democracy, and the security. Thank you.